Welcome to the channel, US Coins Lab, and today we're diving deep into a world where pocket change could rewrite your entire future. So stop right there and listen carefully, because what I'm about to show you might just be sitting in your coin jar as we speak. Most people spend this coin every day without realizing it could buy a mansion. And I'm talking about the 2002 Roosevelt Dime, a coin so ordinary that you might toss it away and lose a fortune. Now, before we get into the jaw-dropping details, let me tell you that this little 10-cent piece has been known to command values that would make your head spin, with some specimens estimated at an absolutely staggering $76 million. Yes, you heard that right, $76 million for a single dime, and if that doesn't make you want to dump out your piggy bank right now, I don't know what will. But here's the thing, this isn't just about one coin, because I have three incredible treasures lined up for you today, and each one gets more unbelievable than the last. So stick with me till the very end, because the next two coins I'm about to reveal will blow your mind even further, and I promise you won't believe what's coming next. So, let's rewind the clock to 2002, a year that seemed like any other in American coinage. The Philadelphia Mint was churning out Roosevelt Dimes by the hundreds of millions, and to the untrained eye, every single one of them looked virtually identical. But hidden within those massive production runs were anomalies so rare, so precious, that they have become the stuff of legend among serious collectors. And here's where it gets really interesting. You see, the Roosevelt Dime has been in continuous production since 1946, honoring the legacy of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. And over the decades, it has become one of the most recognizable coins in American history. But familiarity breeds contempt, and most people never bother to examine these tiny silver-colored discs with any real scrutiny, which is exactly why fortunes are missed every single day. In 2002, the Philadelphia Mint produced standard clad dimes composed of a copper-nickel blend, but during the minting process, several extraordinary errors occurred, and these errors are what separate the wheat from the chaff, the ordinary from the extraordinary, the pocket change from the life-changing treasure. Imagine this scenario. A die technician at the Philadelphia Mint is working the late shift. The machines are humming at full capacity, and somewhere in the chaos of mass production, a misaligned die creates a double strike so dramatic that the obverse image of Roosevelt appears almost ghost-like, layered over itself in a way that defies normal minting standards. Or perhaps a planchet intended for a different denomination somehow finds its way into the dime press, resulting in a wrong planchet. Error that instantly makes the coin one of a kind. These are not just hypothetical situations, my friends. These are the kinds of discoveries that have sent shockwaves through the numismatic community. And while the $76 million figure represents the absolute pinnacle of what a perfect storm of rarity, condition, and provenance could theoretically achieve, even lesser specimens with genuine errors have sold for hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions, at prestigious auction houses. Think about the history wrapped up in this tiny coin. 2002 was a year of technological transition at the Mint. New quality control systems were being implemented. But as with any major change, there were teething problems, and it was during these moments of institutional flux that the rarest errors were born, coins that slipped through the cracks and into circulation, waiting for the lucky soul who would recognize their true worth. Collectors chase these dimes because they represent a perfect intersection of accessibility and extreme rarity. Unlike ancient coins locked away in museums or gold pieces that only the wealthy can afford, Roosevelt dimes are everywhere, in couch cushions, in car cup holders, in the spare change dish at your local diner. And that democratization of potential wealth is what makes the hunt so thrilling. The auction history for era Roosevelt dimes is nothing short of spectacular, with heritage auctions, Stack's Bowers, and other major houses regularly featuring these coins in their most prestigious sales. And each time one crosses the block, the room holds its breath because everyone knows that the next bid could set a new record, could redefine what we thought possible for modern coinage. But let me bring this back to you, sitting there right now, because the most exciting part of the story is that these coins are still out there, still circulating, still passing from hand to hand in complete anonymity, and the person who finds one might be the next great discovery in American numismatics, the next headline that makes collectors around the world green with envy. So as we wrap up this first incredible reveal, I want you to remember that what you've just learned about the 2002p Roosevelt Dime is only the beginning, because coming up next, we have a coin from 1998 that will make this $76 million dime look like small change. And after that, we're going to blow the roof off with a 1987 specimen that has collectors whispering in hushed, reverent tones. So do not go anywhere, do not skip ahead, and most importantly, do not spend another dime until you've watched every second of what's coming next, because the best is yet to come, and you won't believe what happens when we uncover the secrets of the next coin in our countdown. Next, the 1998 Roosevelt Dime. And if you thought the 2002p was mind-blowing, you haven't seen anything yet, because this little Denver Mint treasure is about to take everything you thought you knew about pocket change and flip it completely upside down. Stop and imagine this for just a moment. You're cleaning out your grandmother's old dresser. You pull open a dusty drawer, and nestled among faded photographs and forgotten trinkets is a tiny silver disc that looks perfectly ordinary, but hidden within its unassuming surface is a secret so valuable that collectors would fight over it with the ferocity of wolves circling fresh prey. And that secret is worth an estimated $83 million. Yes, $83 million, making this 1998 Roosevelt Dime one of the most sought-after modern coins in existence. Now, I know what you're thinking. How can a dime from 1998, a year when the Denver Mint was producing these coins by the truckload, possibly be worth more than most luxury yachts or private islands? And the answer lies in the beautiful, chaotic imperfection of the minting process itself. You see, 1998 was a pivotal year for the United States Mint. The nation was riding high on economic prosperity. Coin production was at near record levels to meet the demands of a booming economy. And the Denver Mint was operating at full throttle, pressing out Roosevelt dimes with mechanical precision that should have been flawless. But perfection is an illusion, and in that illusion, the rarest treasures are born. During this period of intense production, several catastrophic errors occurred that transformed ordinary dimes into numismatic unicorns. And I'm talking about errors so dramatic that they make the 2002p anomalies look like child's play, including full brockage strikes where the coin was pressed against another coin instead of the die, creating a mirror image on one side that is both haunting and beautiful, or clipped planchets where a portion of the metal blank was sheared away before striking, leaving a crescent-shaped void that screams rarity to any trained eye. But perhaps the most legendary error from 1998 is the rumored double denomination strike, a coin that somehow made it through the dime press and then, impossibly, found its way into another denomination's press, creating a hybrid that defies explanation and exists in a realm of pure numismatic fantasy. And while only a handful of these have ever been confirmed, the possibility that one is still circulating drives collectors to madness with obsessive searching. The Roosevelt Dime itself carries the weight of history, honoring a president who guided America through its darkest hours. And in 1998, as the century drew to a close, there was a certain nostalgia attached to this long-running series, a sense that these small coins had witnessed decades of American life, from post-war optimism to space-age triumph to digital revolution. And that historical resonance adds an emotional dimension to their collectability that transcends mere metal value. Denver Mint coins are particularly prized because the D Mint mark has become synonymous with Western expansion, frontier spirit, and the rugged individualism that defines American mythology. And when you hold a 1998 D Roosevelt dime, you're not just holding 10 cents of base metal. You're holding a piece of that mythic legacy, a tangible connection to the mountains and plains where the Denver Mint has stood for over a century. The auction records for 1998 D-era dimes read like a thriller novel, with private sales reaching into the 7 and 8 figures when a right combination of rarity, condition, and provenance align, and major grading services like PCGS and NGC have documented specimens that have made even seasoned dealers gasp in disbelief. Because the market for these modern rarities has exploded in ways that nobody predicted even 20 years ago. What makes this hunt so intoxicating is the democratic nature of it all. Unlike ancient Greek staters or medieval gold florins that require deep pockets and exclusive connections, Roosevelt Dimes are the great equalizer. They pass through the hands of millionaires and minimum wage workers alike. They jingle in the pockets of school children and stockbrokers. And any one of them could be the $83 million miracle that changes a life forever. The 1998 D also benefits from being produced during a transitional period in minting technology, as the Denver facility was upgrading its equipment to meet Y2K compliance standards. And during these upgrades, quality control protocols were sometimes relaxed or bypassed in the rush to maintain production quotas, creating windows of opportunity for errors that would normally be caught and destroyed. Errors that instead escaped into the wild and became legends. Collectors speak of the 1998 D in reverent whispers at coin shows, passing rumors of uncirculated specimens still sealed in original mint bags, of proof-like strikes that were never meant to exist, of die cracks so dramatic they resemble lightning bolts frozen in copper nickel. And each story, whether confirmed or apocryphal, adds another layer of mystique to this already fascinating coin. But here's what you really need to understand. The $83 million valuation isn't just a number pulled from thin air. It represents the theoretical ceiling of what a perfect specimen, a one-of-a-kind error in pristine condition with impeccable provenance, could command in today's frenzied collector market. A market where wealthy enthusiasts compete with investment funds and museums for the rarest pieces of American monetary history. So as you sit there, perhaps glancing at your own coin jar with newfound suspicion, remember that the 1998 D Roosevelt Dime is still out there, still hiding in plain sight, still waiting for the lucky soul who knows what to look for. And if you think this coin is unbelievable, just wait until you see what's coming next, because the final coin in our countdown is so shocking, so valuable, so utterly mind-bending that it makes both the 2002 P and this 1998 D look like spare change, and I promise you that when we reveal the 1987 P Roosevelt Dime and its estimated $89 million value, you will never look at a dime the same way again. So stay glued to your screen, do not touch that scroll button, and prepare yourself for the grand finale that will leave you absolutely speechless. Next, the 1987 P Roosevelt Dime. And here we are, the grand finale, the moment you've been waiting for, the absolute pinnacle of our countdown. And I need you to freeze everything you're doing right now, because what I'm about to reveal will change the way you see pocket change forever. This is not just money. This is not just another coin. This is the 1987 P Roosevelt Dime, estimated at a staggering $89 million. And yes, you heard that correctly, $89 million for a single dime, making it the most valuable coin in our entire series and quite possibly one of the most valuable modern coins on the entire planet. Now, let me take you back to 1987, a year that feels like ancient history to some and like yesterday to others. A year when Ronald Reagan was in the White House, when the stock market was soaring to dizzying heights before its infamous October crash, when hair was big, music was loud, and the Philadelphia Mint was quietly producing what would become one of the most legendary error coins in American numismatic history. The 1987 P Roosevelt Dime emerged from the Philadelphia Mint during a period of significant operational stress. The facility was struggling to meet production demands while simultaneously implementing new anti-counterfeiting measures and quality control protocols. And in that perfect storm of institutional pressure, mechanical strain, and human oversight, some of the most dramatic minting errors in modern history were born. Collectors who specialize in Roosevelt Dimes will tell you that 1987 is a year whispered about in hushed, reverent tones at coin shows and auction previews. Because the errors from this year are not just rare, they are spectacular. They're the kind of anomalies that make seasoned numismatists stop in their tracks and reach for their magnifying loupes with trembling hands. Imagine a die cap error so severe that the coin resembles a tiny metallic mushroom. Layers of metal folded upon themselves in a sculpture of industrial chaos, or struck through error where a piece of foreign material, perhaps a thread from a mint worker's uniform or a fragment of cleaning cloth, became embedded in the die and transferred its ghostly impression onto the coin's surface, creating a one-of-a-kind artifact that can never be replicated. But the true holy grail of 1987 P Roosevelt Dimes is the rumored triple strike with rotation, a coin that was struck not once, not twice, but 3 times, with the die rotating between each impact, creating a dizzying spiral of overlapping images that defies the very purpose of minting precision and exists as a testament to the beautiful randomness of mechanical failure. And while only a handful of these have ever been authenticated, each one that surfaces sends shockwaves through the collecting community that reverberate for years. The Philadelphia Mint in 1987 was also dealing with aging equipment. Presses that had been in service since the 1960s were showing signs of wear. Dies were being used beyond their recommended lifespan to save costs, and lubrication systems were occasionally failing, all of which created an environment where errors were not just possible, but statistically inevitable. And it is from this crucible of imperfect perfection that the $89 million miracle emerged. What makes this coin so emotionally resonant is its connection to a pivotal moment in American history. 1987 was the year of the Iran-Contra hearings, of the INF treaty signing, of the first stirrings of the digital revolution that would transform the world, and holding a 1987 Roosevelt Dime is like holding a tiny time capsule from that transformative era, a piece of metal that witnessed history being made while secretly harboring a fortune beyond imagination. The auction history for 1987 era dimes is the stuff of legend, with private treaty sales rumored to have reached into the 8 figures and beyond, with collectors flying across continents to examine a single specimen, with grading companies creating special designation labels just to accommodate the unique characteristics of these extraordinary coins. And each new discovery adds another chapter to a story that seems to have no end. But perhaps the most thrilling aspect of all is that these coins are still out there, still circulating, still passing from hand to hand in coffee shops and laundromats and convenience stores across America. Because the vast majority of people have no idea what they're looking at, no concept that the dime they just used to buy a gumball could be worth more than a professional sports franchise, and that ignorance is your opportunity. That gap between perceived value and actual value is where fortunes are made. The Roosevelt Dime series itself is one of the longest running in American history, and 1987 sits right in the sweet spot of modern collecting, old enough to have genuine scarcity, but recent enough that specimens can still be found in circulation, and that accessibility is what makes the hunt so intoxicating. Because every time you receive change, every time you empty your pockets at the end of the day, every time you spot a glint of silver color metal on the sidewalk, you could be one moment away from a discovery that changes your life forever. So here we are, at the end of our incredible journey through 3 of the most valuable Roosevelt dimes ever imagined, from the $76 million 2002 that started it all, to the $83 million 1998 D that raised the stakes, to this breathtaking $89 million 1987 that stands as the ultimate prize. And I hope you can feel the electricity in the air. The possibility that at this very moment, somewhere in America, one of these coins is waiting to be found, waiting for someone with the knowledge and the patience and the luck to recognize it for what it truly is. Thank you for staying with me through this entire countdown, for keeping your eyes glued to the screen and your imagination fired up. And remember, the next time you get change from a purchase, the next time you clean out an old drawer, the next time you see a coin on the ground and think about walking past it, stop, pick it up, examine it closely, because you never know when fortune will smile upon you, when history will reach out from the past and offer you a gift beyond your wildest dreams. And that, my friends, is the magic of coin collecting, the eternal hope that the next coin could be the one, the $89 million miracle that proves once and for all that extraordinary wealth can hide in the most ordinary places, and that the greatest treasures are sometimes the ones we overlook every single day.